When I look at the rim, I look where the rim and the net meet. There are always these little hooks that attach the net to the rim. And for me, there's always 2, sometimes 3 hooks facing me, which are almost the same width as a basketball. And so my goal is to put that basketball right on those hooks, looking at the front of the rim so that I remind myself to have as much arc as I can so that the ball is traveling down as it's coming to the rim instead of having a flat jump shot that's most likely going to hit the back of the rim. I want to look at the front of the rim and just try to put that ball just over the front of the rim with a little bit of touch, a little bit of arc. So in case I'm not perfect in swishing it, I give myself a good opportunity to get a soft bounce on the rim. No, yes. All right, I want to keep that ball on my fingertips so that I can see a little bit of space in between the ball.
Let's start with the placement of his hands. Steph places his hands on the ball so that when he shoots, his shooting hand is in the middle and his guide hand is over to the side. Now, as Steph lifts the ball to his set point, his shooting hand isn't perfectly in the middle or under the ball. It's shaded over towards the right side a little bit. But right before he releases, his hand is in the middle and directly under the ball. More on that later. And then as for his grip on the ball, he has a pretty loose grip. I mean, the ball is secure and everything, but he's not squeezing the ball hard like Ray Allen here. Steph also doesn't completely elevate the ball off his palm either. It's not sitting flat on his palm like Damian Lillard does. But it's not fully elevated off his palm like Ray Allen did, or Kobe or MJ too. Steph has the ball resting in his palm a bit. Look at this one. We can clearly see him cradling the ball here. And then as he gathers, nothing really changes. Ball is in his palm. Which is something I've changed my mind on recently. I was taught that holding the ball completely off your palm is the fundamental way to shoot. But I've seen too many great shooters lately, Steph included, who hold the ball like this. So now I don't think one way is better or more fundamental than the other. I think it's a comfort thing. Alright, moving on. The start of Curry's jumper. Here's Steph's shot pocket, or where he brings the ball to right before he begins his shot. It's right around the middle of his body and a little lower than his waist. From his shot pocket, Steph dips the ball slightly, and then he raises it up and over towards his set point. This is his lift path. Here's a better angle to see the dip. When shooting off the dribble, he doesn't dip. He gathers the ball and goes straight up into his shot. Dipping the ball helps generate momentum for your shot, but when you shoot off the dribble, you generate that momentum from the dribble itself. Also, sometimes on catch and shoots, Steph will skip the dip so that he can get his shot off quicker. Now, one cool thing Steph does is he'll adjust his lift path in certain scenarios based on the defense. Check out this clip here. Steph has AD on him, and AD is positioned on Steph's left side with a hand in his face. If Steph were to shoot this with his normal lift path, he's probably getting blocked. So instead, he adjusts his lift path. He flips it basically. He raises the ball up the right side of his body, around AD, and now he's able to get the shot off. Here's another one. This is just a ridiculous shot. Flat-footed, Steph brings the ball up the right side of his body and shoots this around LeBron. And here's one more. Based on where he gathers this and where Dellavedova is positioned, it is easier and quicker for Steph to just raise this ball up the right side. The next checkpoint in Steph Curry's shooting form is his set point. This is where he lifts the ball to and pauses very briefly before he begins to actually shoot the ball towards the basket. Lifts the ball, brief pause, and now he shoots. That pause is so quick, and this is one of the reasons he has such a fast release. As for the location, Steph brings the ball just a little over to his right. And at his set point, the ball is mostly above his head, and it's in front of, but pretty close to his face. Your set point location really doesn't affect how accurate of a shooter you're going to be. A lower set point like Steph's is quicker, but it can be easier to block too. A higher set point like Kobe, MJ, LeBron, Jokic, that's going to be harder to block, but slower too. Okay, let's take a look at Curry's form at his set point now. I mentioned earlier, Steph has good balance on his shot, and he's got his shoulders parallel with each other. One isn't dipping lower than the other. He also tilts his head to the left here at his set point. I don't know if he's sort of peeking around the ball to see better, or if this is just something he does, but yeah, something I noticed. And then here at his set point, Steph's shooting elbow is parallel with the ground. And he's got his wrist flexed back, which creates these angles here. Steph starts his shot with his wrist relaxed, and then as he raises the ball up to his set point, he flexes it back. Same thing off the catch. Okay, so at his set point, Steph's shooting elbow is parallel with the ground. It's also facing the rim. I've mentioned this a bunch in other videos too, but when your shooting elbow faces your target, it is much easier to shoot straight. So Steph gets his elbow to face the basket by the time he gets to his set point here. His upper arm, from his shoulder to his elbow, points towards the basket. His lower arm though, his forearm and wrist, are not in line with the basket. They're tilted to the side. This angle gives a good look at it. The byproduct of this tilt is it makes Steph's shooting palm face sideways a little. When he reaches this point in his jumper, his guide hand is still to the side of the ball, but now his shooting hand is facing up and to his left. So then let me show you what happens as he continues on with his shot. Okay, the next part of Steph Curry's form, his release. I just showed you how when Steph reaches his set point, his forearm is angled to the side, which makes his shooting palm face up and sideways a little. So then watch what happens as he begins to shoot the ball. As he goes from his set point to his release, Steph rotates his forearm, wrist, and hand so that right before he shoots, his palm is facing the basket. His shooting hand goes from facing left to facing towards the basket. He then snaps his wrist towards the basket and the ball goes straight. Steph has a pretty loose or relaxed wrist snap. Watch it kind of bounce here. And he finishes with his palm and fingers facing down, like legitimately down. They do bounce around, but right after shooting, his fingers face straight down towards the ground. I mention this because some players finish with their fingers down, but a little more forward too. So this shows you just how much Steph is curling his fingers as he releases the ball. His fingers are also still spread on his finish. They were spread on the basketball before he shoots, and they stay spread as he shoots.